100 label has already had a very chaotic year, and now the situation surrounding the CEO has dramatically escalated. Hi, my name is Ariel, and today we are going to be getting into what the fuck is going on with 100 Label. If you don't know with 100 Label is a music label that held a lot of high-profile artists. You had The Boys, you had part of EXO. You had a lot of prestige there, and if I'm not mistaken, I think at one point Taemin from SHINee was under that label, but under like a sub-label. And it has just dramatically gone downhill. And I've loosely been following the situation, but not intently, because one, the artists under that label I don't listen to day to day, and obviously life in general and other things take your attention away from things that are happening over in South Korea. But quite honestly, we really need to talk about it, okay? The CEO, and I hope I'm not gonna butcher her name, Cha Gon Gawan, I think it's Gawan, Cha Gawan, has been indicted on fraud involving roughly about 30 billion won, which is between 20 to 21 million USD. So that's a lot of fucking money. And that's in just some random executive. This person has been connected to many different labels and many different artists over the years. And her arrest and fraud allegations are coming after multiple contract disputes and termination with some of her major artists that are absolutely no longer under that label. So how did we get here? So who is Cha Gawan? I think I'm saying it right. Is a business executive and the head CEO of 100 Label. 100 Label has rapidly become I would say, a significant entertainment company, considering some of the major signings they have had over the years. But 2026 has been extremely messy for the company. 9 members of The Boys have won the court injunction suspending their exclusive activities under 100 Label. Chan, Baekhyun, and Zoomin of EXO also terminated their contract with them in April of this year. So before we get into the criminal allegations of this company, let's go ahead and turn to the other serious problems it has been having with its artists. So according to prosecutors, Cha proposed a business involving artist intellectual property with her entertainment company. Apparently, she was given a very large advancement payment for this business proposal, and apparently prosecutors are saying, allegedly, that the project was not carried out as promised. The company involved apparently paid 100 Labels 24.2 billion won. Authorities are alleging that she received this money and failed to properly execute the business promise. And apparently there are other allegations regarding lease deposits. Cha is separately being accused in connection with approximately 5.4 billion won in housing leasing deposits. Authorities are alleging that this money was received in connection with housing lease agreements that ultimately were not fulfilled. The important thing I want to point out here is that the artist IP deal isn't the only allegation that is being investigated here and that she is being charged with as far as fraud. Now, what's important is the indictment isn't where the story starts. The police had previously attempted to obtain a detention warrants. Two earlier requests were sent back to prosecutors who requested additional investigations. Then on August 3rd, the Seoul Circuit District Court issued a detention warrant citing concerns about possible destruction of evidence. And now we have this major update that on August 25th, prosecutors indicted Cha while she was still in custody. Now, she does deny the fraud cases. Her position is that this is just a business debt dispute and says that this may be in connection with a hostile takeover of 100 label. So basically, the courts are going to have to determine whether or not this is actual fraud or if there is a hostile takeover of the company. The fascinating thing to me isn't that the CEO has been indicted. It's everything that happened before that. The whole artist contract disputes, because quiet as kept, I'm not a financial expert on the way that business dealings are done in South Korea. I'm here more for the K-pop side and how it's going to affect the artists under this label. Because this company collected, like fucking Pokemon, K-pop artists so quickly, and now we are watching extraordinary turmoil around it. So I really want to focus on how this affects the artists, because the artists signed these contracts expecting companies to provide stability, management, investment, and career infrastructure. And we spend so much time talking about idols behaving professionally, but I think in this situation, it's a reminder that these idols are employees and contracted artists whose careers depend on people running these companies and behaving professional as well. So like, what happens when the company itself becomes the unstable part of an artist's career? Running your own company is not easy, and there are several artists who have talked about trying to manage comeback schedules, finances, being the one to make the decisions. We've heard this from K-pop artists like Holland, who is originally from a girl group. I forget what the girl group's name was, but she talks about how running her company is very, very difficult and very stressful. We know that GOT7 has talked about that as well, that setting up their company and setting up and trying to organize comebacks are very, very difficult. It is not easy. And what these management companies like Hybe and SM, JYP, 100, is that they provide the management part so that the artist can focus on the music part. And so when your management company is going through so much, it's very difficult for artists to focus solely on the artist side because you don't know what's going on at the top. And so obviously her being indicted, Cha being indicted, doesn't necessarily mean she's guilty. And ultimately, we're going to have to see where these allegations go and whether or not she is found guilty of fraud and mishandling these funds. But regardless of how these criminal cases ultimately turn out, I think 100 label is going to be an interesting company to keep an eye out on, considering all the turmoil on the outside and the inside regarding the artists. And I think, especially considering they were the second home to people who are finding a second label to be under. They've most, if not all, of their artists have come from one label to their label, and that was their whole shtick. We're gonna help you manage what you've already created. They don't have anyone naturally from under 100 label. They don't have anyone that they have developed themselves. So how are they going to attract talent in the future? Like, how are they going to keep this company going? I wonder what's going to happen with this company moving forward. Are they going to be able to attract those talents who are looking for a second home? Or are they going to have to pivot to developing their own talent, which is going to be a more expensive route? Because Taemin, The Boys, CBX, all of those people already come with a baked-in fandom who are going to buy the album, go to the concert, stream the music. Trying to develop a new talent is very difficult, especially in this K-pop space where it's kind of crowded. It's kind of crowded. And there is no guarantee, even at some of these bigger companies, that you or that group is going to be successful. It's just at the biggest company have enough money to keep a group going for at least long enough to get a return on profit. So are we going to see some more artists distancing themselves from 100 label after all this, regardless of the legal outcome? Are we going to see them be able to attract talent? Or are they going to have to pivot their business model to something that's going to be a lot more expensive and a lot more unstable? Please let me know down below. I would like to hear you guys' thoughts, because this case is very, very interesting to me. I've been following it lightly, but with the whole indictment, it's just been crazy. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. I also do want to say that I'm so sorry for the lack of videos. I royally fucked up my back. From working out, and I have not been able to move for the past week. This is the first time I'm able to actually move. So there's that. Hope that I can get more videos out this week, and I'm hoping I can get some videos out next week. I will say I am going out of town for the BTS concert next week in LA. I'm gonna be in LA for about 4 nights. I'm gonna be there from Thursday until Monday. So I'm not sure how much videos I'll be able to get out in that time. I'll try to get out some videos. I have a video idea about packing with me. So there's gonna be a video seeing what I'm gonna be packing for the concert. And obviously the following week from that, you guys will get a nice little vlog of LA. This isn't my first time being in LA. I will tell you that. I have been to LA once before for the Suga concert before he went on military hiatus. So look out for that type of content. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it is sometime later on this weekend, if my back permits. Getting old sucks. All right, bye.